Hey, it's Ian here, and it's been a while since I've done a video about GoMining, so I wanted to do a new one. And what I want to talk about today on this particular video is a question that I see a couple of new people that join the project that ask is basically, where does this money come from? So you come on a website, it says easy way to earn every day. And it's like, well, how do you earn every day with this project? And that's what I want to talk about. So with GoMining, this is a Bitcoin mining project. So with this particular project, you are buying something that will mine what's called Bitcoin. But I assume you possibly already know that. And how you mine Bitcoin with this is that you buy what's called an NFT, which is basically, in this case, an image of a miner. And by buying that, this represents a portion of their mining facility. So the lowest miner that you can get with GoMining is 1 terahash, and that's priced at roughly $25 at the time of recording this video. There are two, and then once you've got that miner, you can then choose to either upgrade that one or you can buy more, and that's up to you. There are benefits to sort of buying more or stacking up one, but I won't focus on that in this particular video. But in terms of upgrading, there's two things that you can upgrade. You either upgrade the power, and by having more power, or more terahash in this case, by having more power, you mine more Bitcoin. It's as simple as that. The more power you have, the more Bitcoin that machine will mine. But on the other side of this, there is the efficiency of that machine. So the actual running cost of that machine. And that's something that you can upgrade. And the lower the efficiency, the cheaper it is to run that miner. So in an ideal world, you will have as much power as you can at the lowest efficiency as you can. And for clarification, if you have a fairly low efficiency machine, so for example a 35-watt machine, right here, right now, today, at the time of recording this video, a 35-watt machine doesn't mine anything. Rather, it does. But the cost to run that machine is greater than the Bitcoin that you receive from it. But when Bitcoin increases in price, that machine will then start to make more Bitcoin, or basically make more money than what you're paying to run that machine. So those 35-watt will eventually turn back on. Maybe even 50-watt machines could potentially turn back on if Bitcoin goes really high in price. But anyway, so that's the miner. And in terms of getting started with this, I highly recommend doing the free trial. And if you haven't done this already, please use my referral code. My referral code will be a link in the bio of this in the description of this video, sorry. And you'll be able to use that to go to this website, and I get rewarded for that. So if you don't already have one, please use my referral code so that I get a benefit from that. So in terms of doing this free trial, and I highly recommend doing this, I sadly missed out on doing this, but by doing the trial period, and how that works is like I said, you go on a website, you click this get started, and then you can see here you can create a miner. But I would recommend doing the free trial. And why I recommend doing the free trial is that you will be given at the time of recording this, a 16 terahash miner for free. Initially it's for 5 days, but you can extend that to 15 days. And throughout that period, at the end of that period, if you buy a miner, and you have to buy a miner to get this, you get to keep all of the Bitcoin that you mined. And throughout that period, there are no fees. So you don't have to pay the electricity. or the service fees for that. So that's how that works. And in terms of paying for those fees, for full transparency, you could either have it deducted from the Bitcoin, or you can use what's called GoMining token, and you can buy that through the website. And that will give you a 10% discount on those fees. So it is worth using the GoMining token for that. But yeah, in terms of, just doing this, click that free trial. And like I said, if you haven't done this already, please use my referral link, and I will put that in the description of this video. So anyway, focusing on what this video is about, and this is specifically talking about where does this money come from. So as I mentioned, we're mining Bitcoin, and I assume that you probably know what Bitcoin is. But in simple terms, it is a digital currency. It's the first that was ever created on a blockchain. And because of that, I personally believe that Bitcoin will always be the highest value cryptocurrency because of that reason. And it's a fantastic store of value. So if you truly believe in Bitcoin, it's really worth either buying it using what's called dollar cost averaging. So you buy the dips essentially, and then you never really lose out. Or mining, and that's what GoMining is all about. So this is the charts. I'm showing all time, but you can see over the last 5 days, it's sort of started picking up. You'll notice, like, if this is all new to you, the price of Bitcoin fluctuates all over the place, and what can impact it is anything from like politics, all sorts. But in simple terms, it goes up when more people are buying and holding it, and it goes down when more people are selling it. It's as simple as that. That is literally how all cryptocurrency operates. The more that people buy it and the more that people hold it, the higher that figure goes up. And if you're unsure about Bitcoin, a fact that really excites me is knowing that if all millionaires in the world wanted to own half a Bitcoin, they physically cannot, because there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and a good percentage of those Bitcoin are missing. So there's only 21 million Bitcoin. So if all of the millionaires in the world wanted to own half a Bitcoin, they physically can't. So the price, so the potential price of Bitcoin could go into insane numbers, and some projections are out there where it goes into the millions, and they are realistic calculations. People have really figured it out, and if you believe this type of thing, Bitcoin is worth having. It's currently priced at around $60,000 at the time of recording this. It could go down, it could go up, but if you believe in the long-term projections, Bitcoin is worth getting now while you can. It's still fairly young in terms of money. It's only around 15 years old, so it's good to get in now if you can, and mining is one way of doing this. So that's what Bitcoin is in simple terms. And in terms of what we do as miners, so if you're going to buy a miner, you need to understand our role in this ecosystem. So currently, or prior to Bitcoin existing, if you wanted to send somebody money, you would have to go through a third party. So something like a bank, for example. So banks are the traditional way of sending money from somebody. So you'd have to go through this middleman. But with Bitcoin, and why it's grown in popularity, is because it makes this something that's completely decentralized. Like, nobody owns this. This is kind of owned by the people. So if you want to send some money through Bitcoin, how it works is that you basically pay for a transaction. It goes onto what's called a block. And then a computer does a calculation for it, and then it sends that money to the other person. So it's all done in completely electronic way, and it's miners that are securing that network. So without miners, Bitcoin can't operate. Like, miners need to exist in order for Bitcoin to exist, and the more miners there are, the more secure the network is. Because why blockchain is so great is because in order for somebody to hack this, they would have to hack all of the blocks or all of the computers that are basically mining, and that's physically impossible to try and achieve. And the more people that are mining, the more secure this is. So I want to show you a website called Mempool, and Mempool is showing Bitcoin operating. I won't run through all of it, and being entirely honest, I don't understand all of it, but I do understand enough to be able to explain it here. So this is showing Bitcoin and its blockchain operating, actually working. And there is two sides to this. So on the left side here, you have a queue of blocks. And on the right hand side, you have all of the completed blocks. So that's why it's called a blockchain. There's a chain of all these different blocks. And within the blocks themselves, they contain all of the transactions. So you can see inside this one, there is 1,535 transactions. So what a transaction is essentially if you want to send Bitcoin from your wallet to somebody else, you are paying a transaction fee, and that's essentially what's within this block, all those transactions. So every 10 minutes, or roughly every 10 minutes, a block will be completed. And you can see, on the left here, that's the queue, and these ones are completed. There's a couple of other things, but you can see this is basically showing everything that's inside the current block and what's going through, and you can see there are blocks queued. You can click in on these to see what's going on with them, but I'm not going to focus on that directly. So basically, there are computers, or in at the moment there are basically pools of computers, so thousands of terahash that all work together, and they are trying to solve mathematical equations in order to solve a block. So this is what miners are doing. They're constantly trying to do these calculations to hit a block. And if you get that block, which is, one of these blocks filled with transactions, you get rewarded in two different ways. And this is where your money comes from. It's broken down into two parts. So you get new Bitcoin, and this, at the current time of recording this, is 3.125 Bitcoin per block, plus you receive the transaction fees as a separate part. So it's the transaction fee part that can really fluctuate, because if the network is really busy, some people do pay ridiculous amount of money for transactions, so you can get quite a lot of money from that. But in general, what we're really wanting is the new Bitcoin at 3.125 Bitcoin. Now, in terms of GoMining, at the time of recording this, we're actually part of Binance Pool. So it's quite nice that when I've checked here, we've hit a block, guys. So if you are... So with Bitcoin mining, it's so difficult to hit a block just doing it from your own computer. You could do that a number of years ago, but you can't really do that now. Some people try, but you're just going to be wasting electricity, to be entirely honest. So what people do is they become part of a pool. And GoMining as a company, all of our miners are put together and they become part of Binance Pool. So when we hit a block, we get the Bitcoin from that, basically. Now we don't actually receive what's hit in the block per day. The rewards are distributed by what's called FPPS, I think. FPPS. FPPS. So that's called full pay per share. And this calculation basically, in simple terms, averages out the Bitcoin, which means that we get rewards fairly consistently every day, regardless of Binance Pool hitting a block or not. So let's just see how many blocks Binance Pool has hit. So you can see all of the blocks that Binance Pool has hit. So today, you can see that we've hit, or Binance Pool has hit 3 blocks. So we will get a share of that. Now there are days when Binance Pool doesn't hit any blocks, and then there are days when it can hit 10 or more blocks. But it averages out, so we get a share of those rewards each day, and that's exactly where our money comes from these from the blocks each day. So hopefully that makes sense. Now there's a couple of things that affect your the amount of Bitcoin that you're going to get. So something that a lot of newbies misunderstand is that they think that they are buying something and they're just going to get a set amount of money each day. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. There's numerous things that impact what you get. There is obviously the price of Bitcoin, which does fluctuate. It can go really high, it can go really low. It really fluctuates based on news and all sorts of things. There's a lot that can impact the price of the pool. But another thing that can impact it quite heavily on top of that is network difficulty. So at the time of recording this, the difficulty actually increased by 10.5%, which is quite a lot. And why this difficulty adjusts is because it's programmed into Bitcoin to solve a block on average every 10 minutes. And if there's lots and lots of people trying to solve a block, then it needs to make it more difficult to solve a block, essentially, and to try and make sure that a block takes roughly 10 minutes to solve. And this will fluctuate. So if there are slightly less people trying to solve it, it needs to dip slightly, because you can see right now it's taken slightly longer than 10 minutes to solve a block. So the difficulty actually needs to reduce slightly in 3 days' time in order to do this. So at the time of recording this, and difficulty adjusts every 14 days, about 10 days ago, our rewards went down quite a lot because it became more difficult and therefore more expensive and so on to actually mine a block, because it's just, so much more difficult to actually do that. But in three days' time, it's going to reduce by roughly 5%. And I mean, that can change. More people could suddenly start mining, but that should, in theory, fingers crossed, reduce by about 5% in roughly 3 days. So if you own a miner, you should get more from that. And why that is because the difficulty and the cost involved in solving the blocks has reduced, and therefore you basically just get more Bitcoin as a result. There's other stuff on here. I'm still learning it myself. Like I said, I only started mining Bitcoin in March this year, so it's only a few months, and I'm still there's so much to learn about this. But hopefully, that's given you enough of an insight, and hopefully I've said everything correctly. Now, there's another website I want to show you. So mempool is, like I said, this is probably the most important one as a miner that's worth knowing about, because you can see what's actually happening. But be aware, if you are buying through GoMining, you don't need to know this stuff. You just buy it and let it mine. But I personally like to understand what's happening and what's going on and so on. So another website that I discovered a couple of days ago, thanks to a recommendation from somebody in the community. There is this Brains Insight, and it shows you a lot more information. And what I was looking for specifically, but I found it on mempool here, I wanted to understand how the difficulty adjusts and exactly what's happening. This shows a lot of really nice data in here of what's actually happening. And you can see, so I mean, this is my general understanding of how this works. So the price of Bitcoin has dipped slightly. Therefore, the amount of hash rate that's trying to get Bitcoin has dropped, because it costs more to get that money, so it's dropped slightly. And because of that, there's a mismatch with the difficulty. So this difficulty will need to adjust to sort of fall in line with this. And I'm just going to zoom out slightly to show you what this looks like. In general, so that you're aware, difficulty generally increases. Sad fact, Bitcoin increases in value, more miners want to get that, pools are going to get bigger, and therefore it's just going to become more and more expensive to mine. So it's worth knowing that ideally, long term, you're going to have to continually upgrade your miner, essentially long term, in order to continually mine. This isn't something that you buy and it creates generational wealth, which, to be fair, I thought that when I first found this. Mining, the difficulty of mining grows, and you can see it's a continual, roughly a continual upward. You can see it's just going to go up and up and up and up. So that's the sad part of this. So it's worth knowing that, because you buy something, you're not just going to get money every single day, especially if you're going to buy like a 35 watt. 35 watt was looking good prior to the difficulty increasing, but once difficulty increased, therefore those 35 watt don't mine anything now, or rather the cost of the cost to run that miner is too great. It's above the cost to the cost of the Bitcoin itself. But as I've said previously, when Bitcoin increases in price, those 35 watt machines will still mine. So I think that pretty much, hopefully that answers your question, guys. So like I said, if you come here and you're wondering where this money comes from, this magic internet money comes from, it is rewards for being a miner. We are securing the network, and by securing the network and hitting blocks, we are rewarded with new Bitcoin and the transaction fees from that. So I hope that you will, join GoMining. And like I said, please do the trial. It's worth doing the trial. It's free to do. Anyone could do that free trial, and that would get you a feel for the earnings and how everything looks. When I started, I was too excited, and I ended up buying a miner pretty much right away. But I do recommend doing the trial period, because you get a 16 terahash miner free, and there are no fees on that during that trial period, which, like I said, starts initially as a 5-day trial, but you can extend it to 15 days by doing certain things. So please do that trial, and if you haven't done it already, use my my referral link, which I will put in the description of this video.